Banana slam jam.
I wanted to mention, I'm literally copying Thompson. It's worked a lot better for me. Maybe in your bracket it's a bit different. But what Thompson does is he keeps his ward, because in my bracket, if you place your ward, people like check forward and de-ward it and shit. He literally keeps his ward on him, and then while he's walking down the lane right here, he'll place the ward. Places like the exact same ward you're placing, but he places it right then. The difference is that like, even if they see you, the mid has to like fly himself a sentry, has to like walk up the cliff into you and then kill it, rather than a support just conveniently killing it. So I highly recommend that habit. He does it. I literally watch Thompson stream. He does it every fucking game on like every hero. And I've done it a few times now and it's worked every time. So it's like sometimes it gets dewarded, but I'll always have it for like the first wave or two. Or not first wave, first like 2 or 3 minutes. I'll always have that ward. So really need to defensively aggro here. This just screams uncomfortable to me. If the wave is like ever on their hill and it's just easy for you to move it away, just do it. Like, the only time the wave should be on their hill and you're not aggroing it is when you're a fucking god. So, like, 10 out of 10 strong. There's nothing that guy can fucking do to you. If he walks up, you right-click him. CCNC said all of his decisions in lane, it doesn't matter what hero he's playing. When he establishes, like, an arbitrary scale of how strong he is, and based on that number or whatever he used, he will use mechanics in the game based on that number, right? So an example is when the wave is on their hill, you only leave it there if it's a 10 out of 10 or like a 1 and you don't even feel like you can walk into aggro range. Like you can't even walk up to aggro it, right? If it's like anywhere in between, you move it. Because if it's anywhere in between, you'd rather have the lane closer back and you're also strong enough to pull it back. You know, you're allowed to walk up to the creep wave. So this is a situation where, you know, CCNC would say 2 through 9, you aggro, 1 through 10, you don't, right? Or 1 and 10, sorry, you don't. So that's something you can start thinking about. Whenever you go pick up your bottle like this, or you walk backwards, block the creeps, that's just always a thing. Definitely block them right here. Get in that habit. The wave would meet like right here, instead of up here. Yeah, you don't defensively aggro enough. So like on these creeps, when you're against a ranged hero, when they're about a third HP, you're just supposed to pull them towards you, okay? And so what that's going to do is when you pull them towards you, he's either going to walk up to try to deny it, in which case you hit him, and if he doesn't walk up, you're just going to get the CS for free. And the reason why you do it at a third HP is because that's enough time for you to like gauge what his reaction is. If you did it too early, then maybe he could back off originally and then walk forward. But if you do it too late, maybe you won't be able to see what he's doing until it's too late. You know what I'm saying? If you follow me, it's like the perfect sweet spot, like right around 1/3 HP-ish on these creeps. You defensively aggro it, he walks up, he's going to like go for the deny. It's like 2 hits from him to get the deny at that point. So if he tries to actually get committed to the deny, you're just going to click him like 4 times and maybe even just kill him. You see these random mid lane matchups where they do this aggro shit and like the super high levels, and the guy will go for the deny. Oh, I'm going to give you a perfect example. I'll show you. I'll show you what happens when somebody who's higher skilled than the other guy plays the lane properly, okay? So let's just note that this is probably, I said this literally in the live game. This is probably how like rank 100 players feel when they're laning against me, okay? Watch this. I'm going to show you something, okay? This is what I look like against a rank 1200 in lane. I'll just remind you that I look like a fucking god when I play against a rank 1200 in lane. We just think about all the things that go on in lanes. Creep aggro, range creeps, stuff like this. Just standard lane interactions, okay? So for me, if you watch from my perspective, I'll tell you, like, spoiler, this Mars was incredibly predictable when going for range creeps. Okay, like when he was going for range creeps, to me, it was super obvious. Okay, so I'll mention that to you now, then we're going to watch. So right here's a perfect example. This, to me, very telegraphed. He's going to go for this range creep. And for me, this isn't a good idea for him because he's against Medusa, and so see what happens. Actually, I fucked that one up. Don't worry about it. So see how my range creep's half right now? I see this range creep, and I know it's half. I would say if I was lower MMR or lower skilled, I would start hitting this. Okay? Like, I would hit this range creep to try to deny it, because it's half HP.
Yeah.
But, like, I want you to realize that, like, this is literally holding him hostage if I just leave this creep at this HP. Because the only way he's ever going to get it is if he nukes it, right? Like, that's the only way he's ever going to get it at that HP. And if he ever walks far enough away, then I'll deny it, right? If he's, like, walks all the way back here, I'll deny it. That's what's going to happen here, okay? So, I know this. I see my HP, look at my HP and mana, and I see his HP and mana, and I'm like, this guy ain't allowed to walk up for this range creep. And that's, like, all I'm thinking about right now, okay? That's, like, all that's going through my head. And then he walks up. And he dies. Right? So it's just like, that's a situation where I'm telling you that what your creep aggro is going to do, if you do it around a third HP, is you're going to force people into predictable decisions. Notice how you're not contesting the creep. You have two choices. Contest the creep or go block. That's always the choices. Every time you've finished the enemy creeps, you're either being aggressive and contesting, or you're backing up to block. The back up to block sets you up to be more aggressive on the next wave, right? Because the wave will be on your hill, or at least closer to it, right? That's what it's going to do. So all I need you to know is even if you fuck this up in the future, one of those two options is correct. Sitting in the river and doing neither is wrong, okay? So usually for me, I'm like, should I be aggressive here? If the answer is no, I back off. That's like the question I'll ask myself. So like here, I know for a fact, like God tier mid players, they would back off, block this creep wave, walk over here. They block the creep wave would meet like right here, walk over here, 255, stack the camp, walk back, probably get denied one melee creep, kill the creep wave, and then go farm a stack small. That's what they're going to do, okay? Like 100% of the time, without a doubt. On any hero that can farm small camp, that's what they will do. Because they gave up half of XP and one creeper worth of gold to stack a small camp. Totally makes sense. And they might not farm the small camp right away if you're Lesh, but like they would have a stacked small camp, which is effectively for later. Okay, don't stand on creep waves against Shadow Fiend. So walk over here, like right here, you're blocking, go stack this. You're not being hyper aggressive. So like, I either need to see that you're being insanely aggressive, or I need to see that you're playing for efficiency. It's just one or the other. It's like, I'm not telling you you're supposed to be insanely aggressive. What I'm telling you is like, if you don't feel like you're supposed to be aggressive, this is the mode you're in, right? This is like efficiency. So you're going to go stack the small camp here, same thing, same decision as before. I want you to see that like, you clearing this camp, or this wave, then getting the bounty or the water rune, is absolutely no different than stacking this, getting the water rune, and then clearing the wave. It's the same amount of things happening, but one of them gives you a stack camp while the other doesn't. So I want you to realize that you always, if possible, want to be able to contest runes, okay? The power runes. Like, the 6-minute power rune is like, it's just like a 20% chance to change the game, Doesn't matter what hero you are, there's going to be some random rune if you get it that you just fuck people up. If you get like a regen, that's like, you could go farm like an ancient stack at 7 minutes with a regen rune. Like, think about it. Like, you could get like an extra 400 gold from that shit, okay? Like, and that's like a full level and 400 gold from a regen rune, right? So that's insane. If you get like a haste rune, you're probably killing somebody for free. If you get like an arcane rune, you're probably trading really well at the very least and probably getting an extra camp or two. If you get like anything else, it's just bottle charges. But like those other runes, that's pretty massive, right? So here, we're just talking about order of operations. You see these two camps, and right now you're capable of farming these, or you're capable of contesting rune, right? Like we're looking at your status. We see you. Yeah. You could walk and contest rune right now, right? At 6 minutes. But after farming these camps, how do we feel now?
Not able to contest rune.
So, what should we have done? Sat there until 5:55, stacked both camps, and walked down to the rune, picked it up if it's there, then go back and farm them. Are you seeing, like, the difference of order here? All the things you're doing are actually correct, meaning, like, they're things we want to be doing. But we need to shift your priorities just a little bit. So, clearly you're, like, thinking more about the game this game than the other one, so we can talk a little bit more about actual Dota here. But it's like, this is a situation where prioritize contesting the rune always. Okay? That's like a mental note. Like, yeah, there's like that guy picked up a haste rune at 650. That should happen in 0% of your games. Just prioritize like what you think you would want to do in the game. If you're strong enough to contest runes, if you're strong enough to pressure the tower, prioritize these things. And like all I'm telling you is prioritize stacking camps on a hero like Leshrac rather than just farming them, because your ult does the same amount of damage to 6 creeps as it does to 3, right? So it's like the same thing in terms of your own mana cost, but you can use it on one set of camps instead of 2. Is basically what I'm trying to say. And that will be a great way on Leshrac to prevent you from removing yourself from the map.
Killing spree.
Where right here, it's 945. You can either farm this small camp, or you could stack Ancients and Big Camp and go pick up the rune with no mana expended.
Mhm.
Same thing, right? It's literally the same thing, meaning like at 10 minutes, you're going to end up at the rune, but one of them is farming a small camp, the other one is stacking, effectively allowing you to farm a big camp extra and an extra ancient camp. Or if somebody else gets it, then that's even fine for you too. So like you try to go, yeah, you definitely don't stack enough on Lesh. I'm telling you, for Lesh, pretty much play your normal game and just fucking stack the small camp and fucking stack the camps. Like, and you'll just be a way better Leshrac player. I think your biggest thing is it actually looked like you played Dota this game for the most part. Any mistakes were just reasonable mistakes. If you just really, like, honestly, man, go into a bot match. Next day you play, go into a bot match. Play your first game as a bot match with Lesh, and you're going to do everything I saw you do in that game, but you're going to stack every single moment that's, like, reasonable. Okay? That's all your focus is. You're going to make the same rotations. You don't have to play the entire game. Just play, like, the first 12 minutes and stack camps. And have the priority be, how much mana can I use on camps? How often do I need to stack them? This kind of thing, such that I can show up to runes. Okay? Like, that's the entire thing. I want you at the runes at 8 minutes, and also, like, realizing that you don't actually have to skimp out on farm to do these things. You just have to, like, mix up the order of how you're doing them.